Thank you so much, everybody, for joining. Welcome to the Walls.io very first webinar. My name is Leo. I'm here with Nikki, Kaylee, and York. I'll tell you about them a bit in a second. We will be talking about virtual events and the success stories. Before we get started, I really want to engage you, so I kindly ask you, simply go to any social media account that you have, either on Twitter or on Instagram, type the hashtag Walls.io stories, and just take a picture of any kind of cool, funny socks that you're wearing, or what's outside your window. If your cat or dog is with you, just take a picture of them and show how this looks like. Now, it's quite simple. You make a public post on Twitter, hashtag Walls.io stories, and we'll collect this on this wall that you see in front of me over here. This is a social media wall, in case you're wondering what it is. Now, if you don't want to make this post public, okay, Maria just posted donuts. Thank you so much. That was great. Now, if you don't want to make this post public, what you can do is simply go to Facebook, and then in Facebook type, talk to Walter. And this is our Walter here. Panelists, can you see my screen, by the way?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, perfect. So simply go to Walter, go to Facebook, type talk to Walter, and this is our chat bot. It's the same little Walter that you guys see here. And basically what you can do is say hi. He's going to answer back, and you type Walls.io stories, this hashtag over here, and just upload a picture or just say, I like colorful socks. Great. Just post that to the wall. And if we look at our, perfect, we're going to get this on the wall right now. Now we are in manual moderation. Okay, there it is. I like colorful socks. There's my post. So this is an example of a social media wall where we have posts coming in from all over social media, Twitter, via hashtags, even from Facebook Messenger. Now, I want to get this out here. The reason I want you to post a really cool, interesting picture of what you're doing is because we will be drawing the 5 best photos. Like Maria posted donuts. I really like the photos with donuts. And the top 5 persons will get a link from us for a free t-shirt, Walls.io t-shirt, merch. I hate that word. Anyways, and it's going to be really fun and great. Without further ado, I just want to let you know also that please stick around, because closer to the end, Veronica will tell you how you can win 2 virtual event passes from Walls.io to use our social media walls for virtual events. So now we're going to get to our panelists. Our panelists had virtual events throughout this year, and the reason being, of course, we know that because of COVID, many real-life events were not able to take place, so many events moved virtually. Now we have 3 different use cases, and we'll show you how successful they were and how they engaged the audience. So we have Nikki Cole, Director of Marketing and Media Relations at Showstopper. It's a premier dance competition where, unfortunately, the persons and kids and everybody at the dance competition couldn't do it with a huge audience, so everybody had to do it virtually, and Nikki will tell you about that. Unfortunately, Nikki has to go a little bit earlier, so she will be the first one to start. Then we'll have Kaylee Sullivan. Hi, Kaylee. By the way, Nikki, I didn't say hi, Nikki, so hi. I didn't introduce you properly, apologies. Again, Kaylee, hi. You're the digital community specialist at Champlain College, a nonprofit college, and you had a virtual commencement ceremony, which was, of course, unfortunate, but you got the most out of it. You worked with what you have, and it was quite successful. And last but not least, we have York Weiss, Managing Director in Project Development and Consulting for Congressa in Berlin, Germany. Now, York had quite a very different use case where it was a virtual annual meeting for the Humboldt Foundation with over 1,000 researchers coming in. But since I'm not the scientific guy, I think Jorg will be able to explain that a little bit more. Panelists, do you have anything to say, any suggestions, questions before we start? Okay, perfect. So again, I kindly ask everybody to stick around. Also post something really interesting because you'll get t-shirts. And if you stick around, Veronica will tell you how you can win 2 awesome event uh, passes. So without further ado, Nikki, if you can just start sharing your screen and tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do, and about your event. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to Walls for having me today. My name is Nikki Cole. I'm the Director of Marketing and Media Relations at Showstopper. We are America's first, longest running, and largest dance competition. For people that don't really know what dance competitions are or how that world works, basically we go into empty event centers and we set everything from the ground up. So we bring in staging, lights, backdrops, we bring in judges, hosts, announcers, photographers, videographers, cameras. We set up a merchandise station, everything from that. And we host a dance competition. So studios from all across the United States come and they compete with us. So they train all year long, learn their routines, and then they come and compete. We judge them, we record their routines. It's kind of like a soccer game or a football game, but for the dance world. So, so basically we host 40 competitions, 45 a year. This year in March is kind of when we got shut down. The pandemic hit us pretty hard. We were about 8 events in California, which is kind of where the pandemic started out here. It was crazy. We were about an hour from opening our doors and the local government came in and said, sorry guys, you have to shut down. And at that time, nobody really understood what was going on. So it was really shocking. And, having to let all of our attendees, we have thousands and thousands of people that come to our event. So having to let them all know an hour before the event started, it was really shocking and of course scary. We didn't know what was going to happen from there on out. But unfortunately, one after another, they just started getting canceled. And, we worked really hard with our venues and the local governments to try to reschedule our events. We were really hoping that the summer and the fall would turn around for us. So, we immediately just told people this event is canceled for the time, but we were hoping to reschedule. Unfortunately, that didn't work out too well for us. And, things started to get worse. But the dance competition is a really unique industry. We're not only a part of an event industry, but also the entertainment industry. So we employ about 200 people a weekend. So between the tech crew, hosts, judges, announcers that come in, camera people, truck drivers that drive our trucks. We do 3 shows a weekend all across the United States. So that's about 200 people that, work a show that unfortunately weren't having jobs. And it was just really heartbreaking for us. And on top of that is all of the studios and dancers across America. We rely on these studios just as much as they rely on us to keep our businesses afloat. And, when we had to shut our doors, they had to shut theirs as well. And without the competitions and registration fees, and they can't hold classes. And it's really devastating to see a lot of studios and just the dance industry as a whole. I mean, movie sets that are shut down, Broadway, just seeing all these different industries that, have been open for years and years and years, just having to shut their doors all of a sudden and not having any income. It was really devastating for us. So one of the main things we started with this pandemic is building relations and, coming back to our audience and kind of putting some humanization behind our company and just making sure people understood that we're in the same position they are and that there are people behind this company and we feel for them. We sympathize with them and that we're here to do everything we can to keep their business afloat as well and, still present opportunities for them. So one of our biggest things when this first happened was giving refunds. Our mentality kind of is if you don't get the services you paid for, then you shouldn't have to pay for it. And I know a lot of companies, unfortunately, don't have that cash flow where they can't give refunds. And that's so understandable. But my biggest advice on that front is just to be open and honest and transparent with people. You see a lot of frustration where people didn't understand why they weren't getting their money back or companies are just leaving them in the dust and staying quiet. And I think people are just scared and confused right now. And they just want to know that you're trying and you're making an effort. And, so we really tried hard to give people their money back and let them know that we're doing everything we can to be there for them and, give them what they needed. So when this first started happening, a lot of people went to digital and online events. There's a lot of dance classes that were popping up. People were doing Zoom, and it was quick. I'm sure a lot of you that are in the event industry know that we had to think on our feet very quickly, and we had to adapt very fast to the situation. So a lot of people were, getting classes online, free classes, it was just flooding the internet. And it's actually incredible to see how our community came together to provide so many opportunities, free opportunities for people, just to kind of give people some sense of normalcy. So we kind of realized at the beginning that the market was being so flooded with classes and online events that we didn't need to necessarily immediately jump into that. So we kind of took the approach of supporting our community. And of course, we have competitors, we're a competition. We want you to come to our competition over that competition. But at the beginning of all of this, it really gave us the opportunity to support each other and show that we support each other. So we took the angle as kind of being an media outlet and interacting with our audience and interacting with our competitors. And we reposted a lot of online events that our competitors were doing, or this studio was doing, that studio was doing, that dancer was doing. And we really tried to spread the word and kind of be like a media hub of, here are all the opportunities that are out there for you. And this is how incredible our community is. So we really took to social media. We were on there constantly, and we were just reposting things that were going on, really trying to, stay involved in that sense. We also took the opportunity to create a video that highlighted all the different people in our company. We're a small company, but we have a lot of people behind us. We have a lot of great people, lots of judges, lots of hosts, announcers, teachers. So we also really took this opportunity to, like I said, put some humanization behind our company and show people who we are and what we're going through and that we're there for them. So we made a really awesome video. This was the first time we really shared with everyone who our company was and what we did. So I'm going to just share my screen with you all for a second to make sure we're working here. Can everyone see my screen okay? Awesome. All right, so we made this video. I'll show you really quick.
Hey everybody,
it was just something
what's up?
simple.
It's Hannah Matt Cooper.
Can you hear my screen okay?
This is my son Grayson. I'm Taylor Quinn. I'm Jennifer Hemphill. Hey guys, Kristen Ray Johnson. My name is Laura and I am an announcer for Showstopper.
My name is Kaim Hersey Salid and I'm a Showstopper judge.
I'm Sarah and I'm a Showstopper photographer.
I just want to wish everybody just peace and joy.
Long video, but that we've never done anything like that before. And it was awesome to really be able to highlight the people in our company. And we try so hard to highlight the dancers and the studios and the people that help, keep our business afloat. But, we thought this was a great opportunity to engage people in a new way and really show the people behind our company, and it's affecting everyone. So, that was a great way to go about it. But once the summer came about, we found some holes, and we really brainstormed ways that we could host a couple live events. And so we were so grateful that worked out. We hosted 3 live events over the summer. And, they were a lot smaller than we're used to. They were a lot different than what we're used to. People having to wear masks. Our award ceremonies were different. We weren't allowed, not a lot of people were allowed in the audience. They weren't allowed in the dressing rooms. So it was a very different experience for people, but seeing how grateful these studios and these dancers were to have some sense of normalcy and something that they're just used to, and to be back doing what they love, it was absolutely incredible. And not every state was open. We were lucky enough to go to a couple states that were, and not all studios felt comfortable attending in-person events, and that's totally okay too. So this really inspired us to try to make a virtual event work. And like I said, a lot of our competitors and other competitions, they were doing virtual events, but nothing like what we're all used to with competitions. So they would basically, what we were seeing was you would submit a dance video from past competition or performance, and you would they would basically just play it. They would send it out to judges. They would critique it, and they would just put it throughout a live stream. And so this was great, and it provided something for dancers to look forward to and something to watch. But for us, it kind of defeated the purpose of giving people something they're used to and something to look forward to again. So we took a completely different approach. So we came up with Showstopper, the virtual dance experience. And our whole main goal behind this was creating the Showstopper experience you know and love, but virtual. So our whole game plan behind this was giving kids the same competition they know, but just on a computer screen. And so we really wanted to give studios the opportunity and the chance to open their doors again, because not a lot of kids wanted to go back in dance class if they didn't have a competition to look forward to, or they didn't have a reason to get back in there. So we really thought that this would maybe give people the opportunity to open their doors again, kids to look forward to, something to start dancing towards. So we started off with making a list of everything we wanted to keep the same from our competitions. So the main thing is dancing on stage. And every social media post, everything we do, we're like, getting back onto that showstopper stage, taking the stage. That's what kids love. They feel like a superstar. They love performing. They love getting on a stage. So that was the main thing. We really wanted to give people that sense of being back on stage again. We wanted them to feel like they had the opportunity to go in and dance and learn their routines, get back together with their staff, their teammates, and perform something and put it together. So we required people to film fresh routines. They couldn't be previously recorded. They couldn't be old videos or, old competition videos or anything. You had to record it fresh, just like you would at a normal competition. You don't go and it's not a performance you've already done. If you make a mistake, you learn from it and you adapt and you improve for next time. If you nail a jump, then you're rewarded. You get a trophy. So we wanted that same experience to be the same. You do the performance for the first time and we're going to judge that performance for you. So, we required people to send a new freshly recorded routine. This is where our first biggest obstacle came in. And I'm sure a lot of people are going through the same thing, is technology. Not all of us are super tech savvy. And we really needed people to send a high quality video. So I'll give a little example of kind of how we put the videos up on our screen. Let me share my screen again with everyone. So this is our virtual competition room. All right, here we go. So it's kind of small, apologize for that, but you can see here, I'll play it. We set up our full competition stage setup in our warehouse. We're lucky enough to have a headquarters that we could kind of adapt to, and we own all of our own equipment. So we set our full stage setup, lights, cameras, fog, our screens, everything. And we simply just adjusted the back screen to be a little bit bigger and ended up being a 40-foot LED wall, basically like a large TV. And this is where we put dancers' videos up on the screens. So they really got that sense of that they're on the stage in front of them. Even though they're watching from home, it really seemed like they're on the stage. So I'll play this really quick for you. And so at our normal competitions, we normally have several cameras and cranes moving at the same time. So we wanted to keep that true as well. That's what they're used to seeing. But we felt like this really gave the sense that they're still on that stage. And that was obviously a big factor for us. Another big thing is the judges. So as you can kind of see, we had the judges in front there. Instead of sending out these videos to be judged remotely, we wanted the judges there in the audience watching the routines fresh, just like they would at the competition. So that's where you see the judges in the front there. They sit there the whole time in the audience and they watch the routines as they premiere live on our stage, just like we would. And not only did we think this kept the experience the same, but it added an entertainment value to it as well. And not a lot of people are used to sitting there all day long and watching a dance competition from 9 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. So we thought it was really important to add some kind of entertainment value to it as well. So having the judges there didn't only, create the same competition experience they know, but it also gave more of an entertainment value, something you would see like on America's Got Talent or So You Think You Can Dance. So after each routine, we had our judges actually say something about each routine. They would kind of talk, they would say something funny or creative or positive about the routine. And it really added a new element and something people were really looking forward to. Another big thing we wanted to keep the same, let me share my screen one more time with you guys, is our audience. So just like at a sports game, you know, you have your team cheering for you in the sideline, you have mom and dad cheering in the audience. And this is such a big thing. You know, dance studios will stay with you the whole time in the audience and cheering you on. So we really wanted to keep this the same as well. And this is where Walls came in huge for us. And we are so lucky to find them. So this is our kind of our virtual competition room. This is where each routine would premiere in this area. And then this was our virtual audience. So this is our Walls plugin. We encourage people, just like Leo was here in the beginning, to use a hashtag Showstopper Virtual and to cheer from the home, from home. So, you know, our host would remind them throughout the day, just because you're not here in the audience doesn't mean we can't hear you cheering from home. Unfortunately, they are not loading for some reason, but these are all Instagram posts, I promise. So, you know, we really encourage people as they're watching their teammates or they're getting ready at home or prepping or, you know, recording their routines to send in, that they would use the hashtag and everything would premiere here in the virtual audience as soon as they posted it, which is a great feature that Walls offered. We love that. Everything kind of instantly came in there. So as you're watching the show, you can, you know, see people are cheering for you in the audience as you're watching your own routine, which is really cool. And people just got so excited to see themselves in the virtual audience. And of course, it being right below, the fact that we can embed it right on the webpage, you could watch the routine and, you know, use the audience feature as well. And it not only, you know, provided that experience to keep it the same for us, but it really engaged our audience on social media and encouraged people to post and share what they're doing. And ultimately, it really helped spread the word about what we were doing with our competitions. And how we were getting the message out and everything like that. And, you know, at first this was something very different and very new, especially for this industry. And at first I think people were a little confused about what we were doing and how it was really going to premiere, that their routines were going to be on a screen, but they're still going to be on stage. So that feature and, you know, encouraging people to use social media, it really helped spread the word and get people to realize what we were doing and how impactful it was. And we have one more event this weekend. If anybody wants to join, showstopper.com, please check it out. But it will premiere this Saturday, so you can kind of see what it's like. But, you know, this will be our fourth one. We have one more after this, and they've really grown into be pretty big. I think the first one, we were so excited to get something going that we kind of rushed into it. And I'm sure that's what a lot of people were also going through in the beginning of all of this was, you know, everything's going to virtual. We have to get something up. We have to get going. And so we kind of did that as well. But my biggest advice would be to take your time and really think through everything. You know, we made lists of everything that we know we could do. We know we wanted to keep the same. And for the most part, we did that. I think we did a good job of getting across, you know, what we were doing. But we ran into a lot of issues and definitely practice before you start the event. You know, we practiced our lights, we've turned on the screens, we turned on our videos, but we never filmed the full event. So the first one went well, but we learned a lot from it. And each one we keep learning more and more, and we know how we can improve. We know how we can adjust this camera to look better, how this lighting would look better. And it's things maybe we notice, but people don't, but, you know, it gradually gets better and better. And, you know, of course our shows are getting bigger and better, bigger and bigger. And this one's, you know, the biggest one yet, and we're sure it's going to be the best one yet. So last thing, another big element of, you know, keeping our experience the same is our dancer swag bags. People love merchandise. You know, when you go to any event, you want a souvenir t-shirt. And it's a big part of our Showstopper experience is keeping prices low, merchandise low, because we want people to, you know, have memorabilia that they can take home and they can memory the competition with. So we really wanted to get that across too. And we've never done an online store before. So this was something, you know, we really worked hard to get up quickly, but we had dancer swag bags. And before the event happens, when people go in and register, they can order one of their swag bags so they can get the merchandise before the event starts. So they can be at home with their watch parties with their studio, and they can all be wearing their Showstopper merchandise just like they would be at a competition. So that was something super important for us to get out early as well and give them the option if they did want to have that merchandise ahead of time that they could. I think that's pretty much it here. A couple other things, I guess, for marketing wise, you know, when we got the event up and going, we know we had to get our our dates up, but we knew we were going to have to put a lot of details out there too, especially this being something so different. And people tend to not like to read lists of information. So another big thing we've learned is bullet points. Bullet points are awesome. It's a great way for people to kind of skim through information and not feel like they have to read paragraphs of stuff. So we went the bullet point route. We found it was very effective. So we broke it into the experience, competition guidelines, and video requirements, and how to upload and register. And, we found this was super effective. Of course, the more questions came up, we're like, oh, we have that on our website. Why are people still asking about it? We learned that we could present the information differently. So bullet points are definitely a great way to go. And, don't think that people are going to know everything. Make sure you really explain everything fully through. It's just because you've done something in the past doesn't mean that they're going to know you're going to do it for this virtual event as well. So don't be afraid to really explain everything well and get your point across. But I think that's it. I'd love to hear any questions. I'm sure I missed something if anybody has any, but yeah, Leo.
Amazing, Nikki. That was actually that was emotional. I don't know if anybody else felt that it was really touching in the beginning how you explained everything. But I'm really glad you guys really were thinking on your feet and you came up with this amazing show, pretty much, which it was a show that everybody could see. Great that the dancers were still on stage. It kind of reminded me of the time when maybe use holograms in the future. Hopefully this doesn't happen again, but if you remember, there was this Tupac a few years back when he was on stage. So it's a really cool idea. Hopefully you won't have to use that again, and you will be doing virtual real events, live events from now on. That's really cool. Any questions for Nikki? I am not hearing question. Okay, so I might have missed it, but did you also consider having the wall likewise on the screen itself in between? Maybe when the dancers were dancing and the live audience could be on the screen so the judges can see what the people are seeing so they can read the audience?
That's a great idea. And we have not thought of that yet. So thank you so much for that. And I've seen other, we look to our competitors all the time, like Disney, America's Got Talent, and there's no shame in looking what other people are doing, what they're doing right. The NFL, we compare ourselves a lot to the NFL. They do what we do. They, host events for sports teams. And I've seen them do that a lot too. They'll have, the virtual audience on the walls behind them, but we haven't thought to do that. So that's a great idea.
Okay, that's really cool. I'm really glad that, yeah, you shared your story because again, it's an inspiration for everybody. Hopefully we won't be doing virtual events for much longer, but if, it's a really, really great story from you. If there, Daniela, what were the best channels? Okay. Daniela asks, what were the best channels to promote your event?
Oh, this is a great question. So we have several different audiences. We have our studios, like our dance teachers, and then we have our dancers. Our dance teachers are the ones that decide to come to us, but our dancers are the ones that get excited to come to us. And we tend to see that dancers are on Instagram and dance teachers are on Facebook. That's kind of a generational thing, but also, on Facebook, you can have pages for your studio and it's kind of your home base. So Instagram and Facebook are by far our biggest ones. And we really cater to those two different channels. So our first video we put out, we used Lily Ketchman. She's from Dance Moms. She's a great influencer. We use her a lot. We love her. And we knew at first we really wanted to grab the dancers' attentions, like, oh, that's Lily K. What is she doing at Showstopper? What's that stage behind her? So we put out a short, quick video. We didn't really explain anything. And we put that out on Instagram to really grab those dancers' attention and get them excited about what's coming. And then we put out a 3-minute long video. And this is where we still kept it exciting. We used visuals, but we really explained everything and told everybody everything they needed to know. And this, we saw a huge success on Facebook. It was actually one of our most viewed videos that we've ever put out. And it hit audiences all across the world. So we found that, like I said, younger generation, more exciting, influencer, Instagram, absolutely. Facebook, information, things that the business owners, the studios needed to know, Facebook.
Amazing. Perfect. Good. So, Kaylee, you've been waiting for quite a while. Nikki, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I know you'll be leaving soon, but thank you so much for telling us your story. And Kaylee, you're next.
All right. Thank you so much, Nikki. Thank you, Leo. I'm going to take us from the world of dance to the world of higher education. So I'm Kaylee Sullivan. I'm the digital community specialist at Champlain College, which is located in Burlington, Vermont, USA, right on Lake Champlain. It's a beautiful campus. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about our virtual commencement, our graduation. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen with you. Let's see. All right, can you see it okay? Yeah, all right. So first I do just wanna, this is our campus in Burlington, Vermont. And then what you're seeing right here, commencement.champlain.edu, is where we hosted our virtual commencement. So it's a microsite that we created once we decided that we did indeed have to go virtual. We definitely held out hope for a while that we would be able to host some type of in-person graduation ceremony. I mean, as many of you know, graduating college is such a milestone in many people's lives. It's an emotional time. People have spent their whole lives working towards this moment, specifically 4 years of grueling hard work. So we wanted to make it special, and we had to put the time and effort in order to do that, because we really wanted to show the class of 2020, that we cared about them. We wanted to celebrate them in the best way possible. So some specific challenges that we face kind of in the higher education world. So our students were on spring break when they found out that they would no longer be able to return to campus because of COVID-19. So this was devastating, specifically for the senior class who didn't get to say goodbye to their friends that they had made over the past 4 years. They didn't get a chance to say goodbye to the professors who had had a meaningful impact on them, and anyone else around campus or around the Burlington area who had really had an influence on them. So we had to figure out, how do we virtually celebrate this milestone in a meaningful way. Another big thing is, if we can't bring our audience to campus, we wanted to figure out how can we bring campus to our audience and connect them to this place that they've called home for 4 years, and that has really become a huge part of their lives. And kind of where the social wall came in and social media was, how do we connect students, families, alumni, faculty, staff? We had all of these different audiences that were experiencing different things when it comes to commencement. And we had to figure out, how do we connect them all? And they're not all in the same place. So we had a lot of students that had stayed in their off-campus apartments in Burlington, and they were going to be celebrating virtual graduation in Burlington while their parents were in a different state, their grandparents were in a different household. So everyone was going to be tuning in from different places. And we really had to figure out, like, how do we bring them all together? So what did we do? First up was determining what aspects of an in-person graduation needed to transfer over to a virtual event. There are many small moments in a graduation ceremony that we wanted to capture. So for example, walking across the stage was a huge thing. And in our social wall, we ended up seeing videos of students walking across their living room and their parent would hand them a diploma. So that was pretty cool to see. It was really, really interesting to see how people got creative in what they were sharing on social media and how they were celebrating. So what ended up being our virtual event was, we combined both live stream and pre-recorded speeches. It really was like a full production. And so a lot of our pre-recorded speeches were people like our president, our board of trustees, our provost, the typical people that usually speak out of college commencement. And then the live stream part, we started to think, okay, students are the real people we're trying to celebrate and reach during this graduation ceremony. So we ended up tuning in live to 4 students' homes, including our graduation speakers. And some of them weren't even their own homes, right? It was wherever they were celebrating from. So we tuned in live to an apartment in Burlington, Vermont. We tuned in live to a student's home all the way in Aruba, and a couple other places throughout the United States. But it was really cool because you could see them celebrating with their families. Their pets got special shout outs, and it really made that experience more personal. So celebrating in a personal, I see I have a typo there, personal but poignant way was super important to us. And we wanted to make sure we had a few comical moments in there as well, asking people to sit down in front of their computer for, you know, a long period of time can be difficult. So we really wanted to engage them. And the last bullet here says, make it Champlain-y. Throughout our commencement process, this became our favorite word. We didn't want to just put on any type of graduation ceremony. We wanted students and families to feel like it was Champlain-y and it was kind of home to them. So as far as promoting our event, I talked about our microsite a little bit, and this was really the hub of where everything lived. So our ceremonies were streamed live there. We had 2 separate ceremonies. So we have an undergraduate population of about 2,000 students. So that was our first ceremony. And then we had a second ceremony, which celebrated our online students. So those are our online bachelor's, associates, and graduate degrees. So they're 2 separate audiences, but we needed to tie the structure of the events in some way. So each ceremony had one 45-minute session, which was showed to all graduates, and then it followed up into smaller ceremonies. And that's where the name calling happened. So the graduate's name is called, and they quote unquote walk across the stage. We didn't want people to have to sit in front of their computers for a prolonged amount of time listening to 2,000 students' names be called, or not 2,000, 500, sorry. We thought that wouldn't be the best way to go about it, so we split it up into 4 ceremonies, which worked well. But as far as promoting it, we had emails to our respective audiences, so our parents, our staff, our students specifically. The social media channels we use the most at Champlain are Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and we also promote events and local event listings, so newspapers and things like that. And as far as leading up to May 9th, which was our day of commencement, we were sharing ChampGrad, #ChampGrad content in the month leading up to it. And this not only gave people a little bit of an idea of what they could share with that hashtag, but it was also a way to celebrate our seniors from afar when we were really missing having them on campus. And I'm not sure if anyone kind of saw this this play out in their own hometowns, but lawn signs became a huge thing for graduations. So we provided lawn signs with our Champlain commencement logo, and a lot of families even put like their seniors or their graduates photo on there too, which is pretty cool. All right, so how did we engage our audience? Like I mentioned, we had our emails to various audiences, but we also offered the option for students to receive their caps and gowns wherever they were celebrating from. Really putting on that cap and gown is a meaningful moment for graduation, and we wanted to see that happen too. So we wanted to tell them, you know, share photos of yourselves in these things. We also mailed them a #ChampGrad celebration kit. So this included balloons, some posters that had the #ChampGrad on it. And our motto at Champlain is "Let Us Dare." So we also had one that said "Let Us Dare." And we also invited students to tell us what had they dared to do during their time at Champlain. And all of these things, we had specific instructions on a little postcard in the kit that said, here's what you can do with these things, and here's how you can share them on social media. The postcard also led them to our microsite, and on that microsite, you'll see a plan your party section. And this had a bunch of different articles on how you could plan your party at home. We knew that it wasn't going to be the same as being on campus with all of your friends celebrating this huge milestone. So we wanted to give some tips on how you could make it a successful kind of celebration at home, whether that was with your family or what it may be. Another huge thing to engaging our audience was making the social wall front and center. We had it positioned in multiple places on our commencement site. So one was on the homepage so that when people came to visit, it was right there for them to see. And as soon as they saw it, hopefully they wanted to post something themselves and see themselves on that wall or see their family member or their graduate. And then the second place we had the wall featured was actually at the beginning of our live stream celebration. So as families and students, wherever they are, quote unquote, getting settled in their seats before the ceremony actually started, we had that wall running through our live stream, which also encouraged people to share their own pictures of where they were taking part from. This screenshot right here shows you the Plan Your Party section of our website. So these are the different articles that people could click on in order to kind of get some ideas of what they could be posting to the social wall. The How to Plan Your Virtual Commencement Ceremony Party gives you tips on buy some sparkling cider, decorate with some streamers, wear your cap and gown, things like that. The How to Set Up Your Tech to Watch Champlain's Virtual Commencement we thought was very important. Nikki talked about a little bit, but as much as you can spell out what people need to do in order to make the technology and the social media easier for them is going to encourage them to participate more, is what we found. So that included double displays of how to set up your laptop and your computer in order to have the social wall on one computer and then have the live stream of the ceremony on another. So that you were experiencing both, the audience of the ceremony and the ceremony itself. That was another way to connect our students and families together because we wanted them to be able to see each other right in this virtual environment and celebrate together. The How to Get Your Content Featured on the Champ Grad social media wall was the most important article, I would say, on this site. Which I talk about a little bit more here. So these had specific instructions on how to get yourself featured. So we found in the past when we would use a social wall for events, mostly our parent demographic was a little confused on how to get their photos featured. So we really spelt it out for everyone and we mostly focused on Twitter and Instagram because they do support those hashtag algorithms. So we told people, use this hashtag, tag us, but we also gave examples of what do I post. So we gave them examples of childhood photos and memories of your time at Champlain. And one thing that was very important was, what if my Twitter and Instagram accounts are private? How do I get my stuff featured? So we allowed people to either direct message us or if they didn't have social media, they could email us their photo and their quote. And we would manually enter it into the wall so that it could be featured. These are just some examples of what to post. We found that if we spelled it out for people, then it would kind of jog their creativity. So photos of them in their caps and gowns. We had a lot of well wishes from professors and family members and grandparents being shared, which was really sweet. We had students sharing some of their favorite Champlain memories. So from orientation of their first year of college to their spirit week of their second year or their time abroad. So some really fun throwback photos came up throughout the social wall. And then there's always some fun childhood photos that parents will share and students are embarrassed by, but it provides some good comical content. And again, like I mentioned before, we encourage people to document the monumental moments. So walking across the stage, flipping their tassel, and similar things. I do just want to touch a little bit more on the manually entered content because this was extremely, extremely important for this one specific virtual event. A lot of our demographic wasn't on social media because it was parents and grandparents celebrating their graduates. So we gave them specific instructions on how can you get your content to us and we will upload it for you. We even scheduled some of that content so that we made sure the wall had fresh content all of the time. And we were also able to control the timing of it. So because we did have 2 separate ceremonies, we were able to save a lot of our Champlain College online graduate content for after the first ceremony was over. And then we were able to add more of the online content for the second ceremony. And the result was an engaged celebration. So here is one screenshot of what we had on our social wall. The wall isn't live at the moment, so I can't show you physically, but I think this is a great snapshot. This is on the homepage of our microsite. If you look really closely, you can see one student with a huge pack of toilet paper. As many of you know, toilet paper was in high demand during that time. It was very hard to find. So why not gift that to your graduate, right, when they graduate college? You'll also see a video of a parade, a neighborhood parade, which was a huge tradition, this past May when students were graduating. And then families in masks outside of their home with the graduates' children celebrating, and then a lot of other really great content was shown on the wall. So all in all, we had a lot of connection and celebration through the social media wall. We successfully connected our families and students from around the world, and were able to visually connect them too, so that their photos were front and center and their celebrations were front and center. And I think one of the best things that we could have done was recognize that the situation wasn't ideal, right? This is not how we want to celebrate our students and our graduates. We want to celebrate them in person. And it was a really heartbreaking experience to tell them that we couldn't at that time. We have promised that we will celebrate them at some time in the near future in person, and that they will be able to walk across the stage, because that moment is really special. We just have to wait and see how COVID develops and if an in-person ceremony is possible sometime soon, which fingers crossed it is. But outcomes and takeaways, involving your audience early on in the decision-making process was something that we found was very important, and we probably should have done more of. So, bringing students and parents into the conversation early on of what would you like to see in a virtual commencement. We also found out that virtual events can reach a wider audience. So not everyone can fly into Burlington, Vermont to watch their graduate. So we were able to reach those grandparents who might not be able to fly. We were able to reach our online students who might live in a different country and can't get here. So we have started talking about, when in-person events are back in action, what type of virtual component can they be accompanied by? In the past, we have live streamed our commencement ceremonies through Facebook so that family members and alumni and anyone who wants to join in can watch it, who can't be there in person. And we have used social media walls in the past as well, but we saw the effectiveness of it by far more than we have in past years, this past virtual commencement. So how can we incorporate that more? And I've mentioned it before, and I'll mention again, spelling it out for people, being clear and concise about how your audience can engage in giving those specific instructions on how to actually use a social media wall was by far the most successful thing we could have done, because it did allow parents and grandparents to be able to share their content.
That's, again, really touching, really amazing. Kaylee, thank you so much. Very informative for everybody. Do we have any questions? I wanted to, follow up with what you said, that when everything's back to normal, which we're in the process already, hopefully, have you guys given it more thought to engage the grandparents and the others who, for some reason, one or another, cannot make it to the graduation ceremony on the other side of the world? Or, but yeah, for in the future, when it's a regular graduation ceremonies, it would be really cool if you have a virtual event while during the graduation, so the grandparents can wave their hellos or send their messages. It would be really, really cool. In the future, we're going to automate it for you guys. We don't have a timeline yet, so you don't have to manually input these native posts. We're going to automate it. It's going to take some time. For our audience, however, I just simply wanted to show you what Kaylee meant by these native posts, manually inputting posts. So basically, this is the social media wall that we have created here, where I asked you to post something. Yeah, okay, great socks, awesome donuts, etc. Your cats, perfect. Thank you so much for that. Now, we have something called content, and here in content, you can add a native post like somebody has done here, just picture or image or video, whatever, any kind of message. and etc. And this is what it would look like. Now, of course, when you have a lot of these grandparents posting messages via email to you, it's a little time consuming, but at the end it worked out. That's really great. Any more messages coming in? We had somebody who asked a question. Kaylee, did you feel you engaged your audience as much as you could have? And before you had a chance, I had a chance to ask you this, you answered this already, that you could have done more. And of course, this is a very on-the-fly situation that nobody could have predicted. So I think overall it was a great success. It was a great event. Okay, very good question. Did anybody post inappropriate content?
No, because we had it set so that we did have to approve the content before it showed up on the wall. So while virtual commencement was going on, I did have the Walls.io tab open so that I could approve or not approve a post. But almost everything was appropriate. I don't think we ran into any real issues.
Okay, I'm really glad, because considering college students, that's quite a surprise, but that's really good. Here in moderation in settings, here is where you use manual moderation. So you manually approve each post if you don't want them to come in, of course. And so you can do that. We also have filters where we filter out stuff. But Kaylee, overall, thank you so much for the presentation. I'm really glad everything went well. I just want to remind everybody, thank you for the great posts. Again, the top 5 posts will get a t-shirt, and please stick around. Veronica will make a quick announcement about how you can win 2 event passes. Kaylee, thank you so much. Jorg, I'm going to introduce Jorg Weiss, last but not least. He is the managing director with Congressa. And Jorg, I'm just going to let you take over.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kaylee. Thank you, Nikki. These were great cases that you showed. And I think there are a lot of things that I wanted to mention as maybe some advice for other campaigns you already pointed out to. Yeah, so my name is Jörg. I'm calling in from Berlin in Germany, and I'm one of the managers at a communications and event agency. We specialize on events for academia and the sciences. So we are running a lot of conferences and outreach events. And we used to, I have to say, unfortunately, because of the current pandemic, run a lot of science festivals as well. So which have sometimes 20, 30,000 visitors, and those get a lot of social media. Those seem to be not possible anymore in the same way, and the showcase I'm talking about today is a different event. It's an event that we did for the Humboldt Foundation. They are a German foundation that they maintain a research network of about 30,000 scholars all around the world, and their goal is to attract brilliant minds and have them come to Germany and spend some time there. So for them, it's a lot about maintaining a network. And just excuse me, I think my dog is here going crazy. Just a second.
Amazing. That's awesome.
Worst timing ever. He was quiet for the longest time, and now that I'm on, he's going crazy. Okay, so yeah, so it's a very important event for the foundation. It's their flagship event. So usually they invite once in a lifetime, a person who is part of that network is allowed to come to Germany. They get everything paid, flights, hotel, everything, and they spend 3 hopefully beautiful days in Berlin. And I guess one of the highlights is a visit and a reception in the president's castle, and or castle, the chateau, I guess, and in the garden. And they also, it's very close event. They get to take selfies with the German president, and it's a big thing for them. So it was a shock, obviously, when it became clear that this event cannot happen as we used to, and we had to very, very quickly transform it into an online event. And we were consulting the foundation, and we came up with this concept. So yeah, so the goals were we wanted to focus on two things. We wanted to make this a very special event because it is a special, as very much as Kaylee, as you were saying, that it's a special ceremony. It's also a lot about a ceremonial thing and a special moment in your lifetime as a Humboldtian. So that was one thing, and the other thing was having it as a network event and having this as very much as like a celebration of the Humboldt family, which they like to be. So these were the goals that we set out to reach out to. And I think before I maybe explain more, I just show you how it turned out, because we did a little recap video. So share screen, share sound. Let's see if that works. So you should see that screen. Can you? Yeah. And I'm playing.
Welcome to the annual meeting of the Humboldt Foundation 2020. This year, things are a little bit different, and so is this meeting.
Where are you at right now? Say hello in your mother tongue. I want to see how broad our network is and how diverse, from India, Brazil. Hola, hola back.
What's the parrot doing here?
Yes, the parrot. Well, Humboldt was very, very fond of a parrot like this. And it could talk. It would say, viel Kaffee, viel Zucker, Seifert.
I hope you all have your coffees or wines or whatever prepared. I'd like to give the floor to the president of the Humboldt Foundation, Hans Christian Pape.
We will experience a novel type of meeting, digitally and optimistically, and together we shall manage, of this I'm pretty sure, to keep the typical spirit of our annual meeting. A celebration of togetherness, of sharing ideas and of creativity.
Ich bin beeindruckt, was Forscherinnen und Forscher in diesen Wochen leisten, damit wir das Virus und seine gesellschaftlichen Folgen besser verstehen.
Please join us and communicate with us by using our hashtag #ResearchAcrossBorders.
Welcome to the Humboldt Science Slam.
Hi everyone, I'm Paulina and I'm a scientist.
And that is essentially as if your hair has hair on its own, which has so far only been scientifically confirmed for Tom Selleck. We are all in good faith. The winner is Faith Ozier. Thank you very much. Celebration.
Okay. Yeah, so I hope that gave a little bit of an impression of the energy and the vibe that we tried to create for this event. And I wanna highlight three. I think if I would consult other people's how to do this, I would say there were three things that were very important to us. The first thing, to be able to transform an offline meeting into a online experience and a successful campaign, because it also was about campaigning, obviously. So the first thing is make human interactions visible. And that's very important, and you can think of different ways how to do that, but it is important that you somehow show that, and that's why the social wall is a great way to do that. But we also had other ways in the event platform how we made those interactions visible. Then the second thing is you have to be unique and memorable. So you have to. There has to be something that is new, that is different, that people will think about, and you have to show them that you truly care. So try to be very memorable with what you do. think of, and that's also with these online events, it's a great way to do to try out new things. So we always, when we consult people and companies and our clients, we often say, now it's the time to also get rid of stuff that you never wanted to do anyways for events, and you can also experiment a little bit and try out new things. So this is a great opportunity to change some of the formats that you work with. And the third thing is you somehow connect to the offline with the online. And I think, Kaylee, you were also showing something that you send out these packages. That was huge. That was very essential to what we did, that we emailed out. And maybe you saw it, those T-shirts and those little packages. So yeah, so this is basically the 3 take-home messages that I already wanted to share with you now. But let me give you a little bit of the background information about how we did this. So it was very much a TV production in some parts. We had an opening ceremony. It was about an hour. And the whole event was 2 afternoons, and 1 hour was basically a production. And we basically poured all the money that we usually put into this offline event into creating this TV production. And I never knew that I would be able to write a screenplay. So I wrote a total script for this, how this will turn out, and it was very important. And it included very detailed at which time slots we planned for interactions. So we pre-recorded, for instance, a selfie of the moderator with the president of the foundation, and that selfie was then scheduled and sent out on social media at the time that it was aired. So it had like this tiny details that we tried to think of to make this really also like a very good experience, that this is now showing live and everything happens at a certain time. We also send out, for instance, popcorn to people because we wanted to have it a little bit like watching a show with your family. And we also included a science slam, which is a little bit of an entertaining format. So it was supposed to be entertaining too, and you were so supposed to watch it with your family. And yeah, so that was, let me just look at my notes. Exactly. So, and then the other thing that I guess we did and was important is to pick a good campaign hashtag. And I think good hashtags are also hashtags that carry some emotion, and that you immediately know something. You immediately have an idea about what this hashtag is about. It could be just Humboldt Foundation, but that would be boring. So the hashtag that we used was research across borders. That is a big topic for the foundation. And at the time that we had this event, there was a lot of talk about closing borders because of the pandemic, and how research could still do the work because science is international, and also closing borders has a lot of carries a lot of weight. And so that was something that moved people and moved the work of the foundation, and that a lot of people had to share something about. So we picked that hashtag. And we also encourage people then to share their stories. So we send out emails saying, like, put out a video explaining why you think research across borders is important. And a lot of people posted videos explaining, I need open borders to do my work because I am whatever scientist. And that was a very emotional campaign that also led up to the event. So we encouraged people to already start posting, and that was really nice, because then we already had some content on our social media wall and out there before the event even happened. And then we have another campaign that we did, which was what does it mean to be a Humboldtian, and that was something that also was scripted into the opening ceremony. And they encourage people, now take out your phones and take a selfie and let us know what does it mean to you to be a Humboldtian. And people posted a lot of selfies out there, because they also had the T-shirts. They were happy to do that, and that was really really successful. And here's maybe another advice. It helps to put out prizes. So you could win something. So among all those, just as you did today, I guess, and you are doing, we announced that there will be some prizes available for the best selfies, or just some selfies. So among all the submissions, we will raffle a prize. The other thing is, make it Instagrammable is very important to make your event Instagrammable for offline events, and is also important for your online events. So and for that, it was very important that we send out these packages. They included, as I said, a T-shirt or several T-shirts also for your family. So they had to have a huge database, so they know exactly how many children every scientist has, and so we send out individual packages. So the kids would have one too, and we had a puzzle, a Humboldt puzzle in there too for the kids. And there were a lot of things to take a picture of, and that also worked. And this was a surprise package. We didn't tell them before, and when it arrived with them, they took pictures of it and shared it on social media, which was really great. Yeah, engage the family and the kids is another thing that was worked out really well for us. So as I said, we had these little puzzles in there, but we also had a whole a section in our event platform that was targeted towards the family. So with activities, with little science games and like little DIY projects that we put up there, so the family can also participate, because that was important at the original event, that people would come with their family, and that would be put up huge, I don't actually know how to call that in English, these castles, these air castles, bouncy castles, I think that's it. So so we needed something, an equivalent for the bouncy castle, basically. And there was that the entire section. We also had a treasure hunt app, which at the end, one challenge was to draw something, and then you photograph it in the treasure hunt and you upload it. And those pictures we also took, and we also manually put them onto the wall. And it also showed then that, oh, there are also kids participating, and you had the drawings of the children. So that was also really great. Yeah. And then another thing that we did is also to engage them. We asked them beforehand to share a little video with them dancing. And so we had another great thing for social media. And I just want to show it to you quickly. Sharing the screen again. Share. Okay. Full screen. So I think you get the idea. That worked out really great. Again, we offered some prizes for all the submissions. We asked them to send us little video snippets. We tried to make it very easy for them. We told them send it via WhatsApp, and we took it then from our phones and made this little sample. It was a huge success, because then people also participated beforehand, and they were looking forward to something, that this was going to be aired at the event, and they knew they submitted something for it. And yeah, and it got us a lot of social media attention too, because it was fun to watch, and it also showed the spirit of this event, that we're a Humboldt family. So fun fact on the side, I did not know how complicated it is to get the rights to use that song. So something I learned, and it's very expensive. But so watch out what you what you go for. By the time we found out that this was maybe not the best choice, it was already too late, and we had to pay for it, I guess. Yeah, so that was fun, and I just want to show you how the platform looked like. Share screen again. Sorry. So so this was, oh, I put this somewhere else. So this was basically the event platform we used. It's a very very good platform, because it has a a video conferencing tool integrated. So this would be the landing page, and then everyone would have an account. People can chat. There's a live chat here, and where there is current Sitzung, where it says current Sitzung, that's where we put our live stream. So we had a live moderation in there and a landing page, and people would go in there and they could interact with the moderators using the chat on the side. And if you clicked on program, then you would find all the sessions and everything. So, and the social media, well, ideally we would have included it with an embed code into this event platform, which unfortunately wasn't possible. So we just had it hyperlinked here. So it was just a hyperlink, and then it would open up in a different browser. That was not ideal because we didn't want to lose our participants, but that's how we did it. And yeah, I could talk a long time about this platform and what we did with it, but I don't want to bore you with it. And this is then the social wall that we use with all the content on it, so we can look around a little bit. So yeah, people really used it, and I think this was an eye opener for the foundation, because before that, I think they weren't taking social media very seriously, to be honest, and this really changed how they thought about what social media could do for them, and yeah. And it was a big success. The social media wall, their media team was really into it. At first, they didn't want to have anything to do with the event. They said like, "Oh no, we don't have any time. You, the agency, you do everything. You do everything, and it's fine. Don't bother us." And at the end, they were constantly on that social media wall and helping us and using that content because it was really good content for them. Yeah, and you can see people were doing these selfies. And they were just all over the world and trying to have a fun event. And you can see someone wearing the Humboldt Foundation T-shirt and doing the puzzle and all these things. Okay, well, thank you so much. That was the little overview of the event that I wanted to give, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Jörg, thank you so much. That was an amazing, amazing presentation. I learned a lot. And the bad news is you pretty much answered all the questions during your presentation in the last 5 minutes. So we had about 7 questions, which event platform you were using, and you brought that up. Can you remind us again what it is?
It's called Let's Get Digital. It's a Dutch provider from a company called Event Insight.
Event Insight.
Event Insight, that's the company, and their product's called Let's Get Digital.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you so much, because we had a lot of questions for that. And we also, somebody asked were you able to change the mindset of the company, since I'm assuming the Humboldt Foundation is quite old and might be the wheels might be turning a little slower, but it looks like they were really quick on board with the virtual event, with social media, etc.
They're hard. I mean, we've been working with them for like 10 years, so I've seen a lot in that collaboration. But I was surprised myself that this pandemic and this special situation. I mean, they basically were overwhelmed with everything, and they were just they said, "Oh no, we have to cancel this," and then we said, "Oh, we can do this online," and they were like, "Not sure," and then the head of the department said, like, "Yes, we can do this." That person had a great vision, and because of that vision, we were able to do this, because everyone else didn't believe in it, and so I have to say, it takes a vision. It takes courage, and I guess for us, this was it's either this or nothing. We thought if this was is one of our biggest events for in the first part of the year, and I mean, we were suffering, we were struggling, we didn't know if we would survive this as a company. So we thought, like, if we can pull this off, if this is going to be a great showcase for us, then this will help us maybe get more clients, and so it did. So we now we switched from a crisis of like, oh my God, we don't have any contracts, and all our contracts are being canceled, and what are we going to do as an event agency, to being like, oh my God, we have way too many people asking us for jobs and work. I don't know how to we don't know how to handle that in like a little bit of time, and because we had these big showcases, I guess.
That's amazing. So all three are real success stories. I mean, there's no other way to put it. So that's amazing. Thank you so much. We had one question, if you can show us your dog, but we can save that for a later time. Okay. Wow. Okay.
I think he's gone. I was joking earlier and I said like that definitely dogs will get me likes in this panel, but my dog, but he's a beautiful wiener dog, but I don't know where he is.
Okay, cool. Next time. And regarding the boxes, if you still have any left over, I think I might be interested because my kids love that kind of stuff. So if there's anything still available, it would be really cool. Great. So everybody, thank you so much, the panelists. Nikki had to leave, unfortunately. Kaylee, York, you guys did an amazing job. These are true success stories for virtual events, and it's really inspirational and kind of emotional that, yeah, everything pretty much went fine. And hopefully this is the last time we have to talk about virtual events because we won't need them anymore, but we're going to have live events in the future, hopefully, and there's definitely still use for this. By the way, do you see a use for social media walls in the future for live events, York?
Oh yeah, I mean, we've been using it every year for our festivals, for our science festivals, and we've been also using it for bar camps for many years. But so I guess we're a frequent client. Will be, and it's great that I have to be honest. If the event platform that we've been using, if it would have had a social media wall itself, then that would have been a great benefit to just have it all in one. But it didn't. But I think the advantage is, and also in other platforms, is that you are able to embed that to use an embed code and just put it in there. That is a huge thing. Yeah. So yeah, I'll definitely be using walls for sure.
Of course. I'm really glad. Perfect. So again, remember, please post, everybody, participants, your best picture. At the end, I will choose the top 5. And with the recording, I will announce that with the recording of the webinar. Now, I have to allocate some time for Veronica because she will let us know some interesting news and how you can win 2 event passes to use our social media walls.
Hi, everybody. I'm Veronica from the Walls.io team. I'm super happy that all of you joined today and listening to this incredible, interesting talks. I'm wondering, what do you think was the most interesting, or what was your biggest aha moment? Let me know on our social wall. Post about it using the hashtag Walls.io stories. If you don't want it to show up on your social media account, use the Facebook Messenger and post directly to the wall. We will select the best 2 posts and they will win an event pass for free. We will announce the winners until the end of the week. So post away and show us what was the biggest takeaway for you. That's it from me. Leo will start the Q&A session now.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much for letting me know that the mic was off. Rose, you're on. Please unmute yourself like I was supposed to. Rose, you had a question? All right. Rose, will ask you to come back later. Thank you so much. Is there anybody else who would like to ask a question? Just simply raise your hand and let us know. Okay, perfect. So Rose said the question was answered. I'm assuming York answered the question because you answered all of them at the end. Is there anybody else who wants to say anything? I really want to thank our panelists and the audience. We still have a few more minutes. Okay. Somebody asked, did you receive any feedback from your attendees? If so, what was it? Please let me know, whoever asked it, for whom was the question? Was it for Kaylee, for York, or Nikki, which she's not here, but we can send her the question later. Or you know what? Why don't, Kaylee, do you mind just letting us know? Did you get any feedback from your audience?
Yeah, sure. We got very positive feedback from our audience, which made us feel very good. I think we were very concerned, when we first announced that there would be no in-person commencement for now. People were upset, people wanted to come back to Burlington and celebrate together. And we heard that because we were putting on an in-person celebration at some point in the future, that some people may not attend that virtual commencement. But we put so much time and effort and thought into it. So when we found out that people did enjoy it and were there and were engaged with the social media wall, it all really came together. I mean, we had people laughing, we had people crying. It was good feedback.
Okay, I'm really glad. York, what about yourself?
Yeah, we got a lot of feedback, positive feedback too, and I forgot, Kaylee, when your event was in May as well, or in that around that time, and it was still an early time. I think now there were quite a few online events happening in Germany, at least in the last month, and we had our event in June, in early June, and this was not many people have experienced an online event, and were very skeptical if this would be an option. And so a lot of feedback was like, oh wow, I didn't think that this would be possible, or that it could be so interactive, or there could be so many things happening. And so it was a lot about that type of feedback, I guess, in a different, not in this conference, but in a different conference. And it was a conference with scientists that work for I guess they develop solar panels and a lot into renewable energies. And so, and they kind of after the event said, like, why would we ever have a offline event again? If not we, who would do that? And so I guess that it was there's a lot of positive feedback that we received, which is great. I mean, there were also people who didn't make it, that's the technology is challenging. Kaylee touched on that, and I think we had lots of the bullet points to make it very inclusive. And I mean, we had a different event where we had it in a 3D environment, in like an actual virtual space, and for that participants needed to download 3 gigabytes of software, I guess, and not every computer was able to handle that. And that's a very, I mean, it wasn't our choice. I would have said, like, no, we can't do that. But that is then also then you get a lot of negative feedback, like, I couldn't participate, this is so sad. And so watch out to make it very easy accessible.
Amazing. York, thank you so much. Can I ask you guys, we have about 10 more minutes left. Kaylee, how did you measure success?
How do we measure success? I mean, looking at how many, when it was live streamed, right, we could see how many people were watching. And then as far as the social wall goes, we were looking at how many posts we were receiving, and then also how many direct messages, how many emails we were getting from people who wanted to be featured on the walls. And I think just reaching, like, we looked at our successes. Are we reaching all of our audiences? Are we celebrating the students? Are we giving parents the moment they deserve? And are we engaging our alumni and community members? And do staff and faculty have a place in this ceremony as well? So inviting them to speak, or inviting them to send in a well wish that we could put on the social wall was definitely part of our success.
Okay, perfect. York, can I ask about yourself?
Yeah, I'd say it's very, very rarely we are able to set goals, or our client asks us to set goals beforehand, and then we evaluate if we met those goals. And in this case, there was no such thing. The success was it happened and it didn't crash. But we did put and I would also encourage you to do that. We did send them a feedback form, and we asked for feedback, and so also very critical questions, because what we were really looking for, if people did actually manage to network and make meaningful connection that will last. And I guess if we would have to really measure that, we would have to ask them again if their connections, if they catched up with people, if they kept in touch. That unfortunately we didn't, but so sending out feedback forms is something we very often do. And I would also encourage you, if that's not something you can do, just call up a few people it's also you can learn a lot from just talking to participants and listening to them, what they have to say, and making 5 phone calls or 6 phone calls. You can learn so much from that. It's not a statistical feedback, but a very meaningful feedback.
Amazing. That's perfect. Doing qualitative analysis in order to see what the people were saying about it. Really good. Okay, good. Kaylee, York, do you guys have anything else to add?
No, thank you very much for having us both, and thank you to all the panelists for your great questions.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Again, I want to remind everybody, I think it's the third and last time I'll say it, please let us know what you liked about this event the most, and we'll then pick the 2 winners for the event pass. Now, I have to say that tune in next month, same time. I think same place. Maybe the Zoom link might change, but it's definitely going to be the same time. 6 p.m., 19th of November. We will send you an invite along with the recording of this meeting. If there's nothing else, then I bid. Oh, we have 5 more minutes, but if there are no more questions, we can say goodbye already. Is there anybody else that wants to say anything? Oh, okay, I have one last question and then we'll go. What do you think is the most important thing, name only one, when you were hosting a virtual event? One sentence. Kaylee, what do you say?
I would say engaging with your audience in a meaningful way.
Okay, engagement. Perfect. York, what about yourself?
A little bit along the line, but thinking about smaller groups of people and how they interact.
Okay, perfect. Good. So, dear panelists, Kaylee, York, and Nikki, you're not here right now, but you'll see this recording. Thank you so much for your time. Your input was really meaningful. And I'm not just saying that all our attendees learned something today. I know I did, as well as my teammates at Walls.io. Thank you so much to the attendees. I really hope you learned something today, and tune in next month because there's going to be much more. We will be talking about employee engagement, which is very important for employee branding, employer branding, and much, much more. We will tell you more about this in the next email that we're going to send you out with the recording of this webinar. Thank you so much, everybody, for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much to our panelists and the team. Looking forward. All the best.